The earth took care of itself just fine before we arrived. Once we laid our hands upon it, the earth became our responsibility. Based on the current state of affairs, it is clear we have not been honoring that commitment. The common mindset is, what can we take from the earth, rather than what can we give back?
Howdy everybody, my name's Elijah and we're live here with the Miracle 2 live Q&A with Geoffrey. How are you, Geoffrey?
I'm very good, thanks Elijah. A little bit nervous as usual as soon as we start. Thank you everybody for joining us, and I hope you're all very well wherever you are. Just like to say, as usual, I'm here to be in service to Miracle 2. To be in service to my customers and for myself and Eli. So I hope you enjoy, and let's get on with it.
Sounds groovy. Well, we might start off with just saying quickly that feel free to subscribe to the channel. I've now got the official Miracle 2 channel that we're streaming from, and that we'll be releasing short videos very soon, more about the products, how to use them. So yeah, feel free to join in for that. It's always appreciated. So before we begin, we've got a comment here from Michelle, which we thought we'd share because it was quite nice. She says, "Hi Geoffrey and Elijah. I've been supplying some of your products from far north of New Zealand. I am very happy with these products, and so are the people that have tried and then becoming ongoing customers. Recently, my dog was ailing for a few days on and off food. I put some Detox Iodine in her water and neutralizer. Started feeding her simple broth to get her started on food again. As she had been throwing up bile and dry reaching, she started to pick up using this protocol of iodine and neutralizer in her water, and my dog is well, back to good health. I was so overwhelmed by her fast improvement. Thought you might like to know. I do a couple of markets up here and really appreciate a bath in Miracle 2 at the end of the day. Relieves all the energies picked up throughout the day. The neutralizer has been great as a spray for her and myself also. She accepts this remedy easily, which is great too. Thanks to you." So thank you very much, Michelle, for that.
Thank you, Michelle. And Michelle is up somewhere up around Kaitaia, I believe, far north Queensland. Far north New Zealand. So yeah, if we had a website or something for you, Michelle. I don't think. I know you used to have a store. I don't think you have a store anymore. It's just the markets now. So
it's nice to know other people are out there using it as well in markets and things like that. That's awesome. But on that note of iodine, it might be an interesting time to bring up that you've got the Detoxified Iodine on the website.
Yeah, the Detoxified Iodine. This is one of Edgar Cayce's formula. If anybody knows anything about Edgar Cayce, he was around for most of the way through the 19th century, last century. And he did thousands, tens of thousands readings on medical readings on people. I think they call him the sleeping medic or the sleeping doctor or something like that. And he was quite famous for it. And he was extremely accurate, and he would basically go into a trance and channel what was wrong with the person, and how to fix it up with foods or remedies or whatever. And it was in his readings that he channeled to the formula for the detoxified iodine. So that the body could assimilate this iodine. Normal iodine isn't as assimilated that easy. So they put it through, I believe they call it a wet cell. And this puts a small electrical charge. I'm not sure exactly the whole process of it. But I know it makes it viable for the body to assimilate, so the body can assimilate it very well.
Right. Yeah.
I love this stuff. I've been promoting it for it's probably more than 12 years now. And yeah, it's great. I actually had probably 8 or so drops this morning because didn't have a lot of sleep last night with the full moon and Mercury retrograde all happening at once.
As it does, yeah.
And so I had 8 or so drops this morning. It really wakes me up. If I wake up really tired and pretty sleepy, I'll have that, and it sort of makes me alert and gets the brain functioning. And not to mention, the iodine is extremely important for our immune system. So the detoxified iodine works extremely well. And as you may know, iodine is an antiseptic. Kills germs, bacteria, and I'm not sure how many viruses or how far it goes with viruses, but I know the body uses that as its main source of to build its immune system and to run its
Thyroid, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's to run your whole what do you call that system? Your
Endocrine? No.
I can't think of the name of that system. It's endocrine system. Endocrine system. Your body uses iodine to I believe it to also make hormones for the body. So it keeps your hormonal system running correctly.
Yeah, right. Because I've heard one of the benefits of it is, I think if you're lacking in iodine, and if you try and go to sleep, you'll feel like you're awake, and you can't get to sleep because your body's racing and it's out of balance. And once you take iodine, that balances itself out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't had any for a while. Might be why I didn't sleep so well last night.
Yeah.
So your body only stores iodine in your thyroid and your breasts and ovaries if you have them.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I've tried at least 2 other iodine supplements, and I just sort of contrasting the difference between the Detoxified. It's the Detoxified for me, the one on the website. It's much easier, as you said, absorbed by the body. Doesn't feel as heavy, doesn't feel as sort of acidy and things like that. And I noticed that when I actually drop it in water, it seems to what was the word that you used? Sort of dissipate.
Yeah, it dissipates into the water, it merges with the water. So whereas you were saying the other iodine dropped to the bottom and sat on the bottom of the glass.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it just stayed in a lump on the glass, and I'm thinking, what's that doing in my body type thing. So it's okay, interesting. Well, thanks for that. That's quite interesting. And I know iodine's a big subject on its own. So yeah, definitely very.
And I know I had one lady who had a lump on her. It was right beside her. I'm not sure if it was actually on her thyroid or beside her thyroid, and she was going in for surgery, and something happened. She couldn't get in for surgery for another couple of months, and she actually just put the iodine on and the neutralizer gel, and then when she went back to get her new appointment for a new operation, they couldn't find anything, so they couldn't schedule in for operation when there was nothing there.
Wow. Yeah. I've heard iodine's also a water purifier too, I think, as well. You can.
Yep.
I've heard you can put it into water and it.
Yeah, well, as
cleans it out, things like that.
As you know, it's an antiseptic, so it's been used for a long time as an antiseptic and all sorts of things.
Interesting.
Thanks for that, Elijah.
Yeah, no, it's a definitely interesting topic. Just had a comment here from Jay. They said, "What protocol would you suggest to help eczema, acne that has been present for 20 plus years, and have many people had success with what kind of timelines to see an improvement? Thanks."
Well, that's a multi lot of questions there. First of all, I know acne. Well, according to the medical medium, acne is a bacteria, and a specific one, and I can't think of the name of it. But eczema, and they're both causes basically all skin conditions are coming from the inside of the body. So for me, if I was treating eczema or psoriasis, I would be dealing with it on all three fronts. So I'd be using the 3-part protocol. So bathing in the soap, using the gel on affected areas, and even the skin moisturizer as well. You can use one or the other or both, because the skin moisturizer does have around about 50% gel in that as well. And then I would also be taking the neutralizer liquid internally, and then really looking at the diet, because I know it's quite diet related as well, and it's quite specific for the person. I would also really be getting on top of the viral load. You can guarantee you'll have a viral load if you've got any skin condition.
Interesting. And I have heard that skin conditions a lot of the time are your body trying to detox as well. So,
Yeah, well, that's part of it too. I mean, I know when you have certain viruses in the body, especially the EBV, if you listen to the medical medium stuff, he talks a lot about the toxins that they give off, and the neurotoxins that they give off, which affect, they float out to the skin. They also affect the chemistry of the body as well. So, yeah, I believe the neutralizer really works very well on those neurotoxins that these viruses give off. And those viruses are actually feeding on toxins as well, but then they're giving off another type. So this is from what I understand anyway.
Interesting. Well, I hope that answers your question, Jay, and feel free to ask more questions as they arise.
There was some more parts to that question, wasn't there?
Let's see. What protocol would there be? Have other people had success?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Some people get great results just using the gel. Other people get great results just bathing in the soap, and then other people need to do all three, the whole 3 protocol, and definitely doing the 3-part protocol is going to be the most effective. That's what I believe anyway. That way you're hitting it from all 3 sides, and it depends, and then in getting on that viral load. I'm loving the celery juice, doing the celery juice every morning, two glasses of celery juice on its own. I've been doing that for probably 5 odd years on and off. And that seems to work really well.
Okay.
I notice a difference when I stop and don't do it for a few months.
What does celery juice actually do?
Celery juice does a lot of things. Apparently it rebuilds the acid receptors in the stomach, which the Western diet tends to, I don't know if destroy is the correct word, but it
disbalances.
It decreases, the Western diet decreases the hydrochloric acid receptors and makers. The receptors actually make the hydrochloric acid, which digests the food in the stomach. So the Western diet over years and years and years apparently will diminish those. The celery juice actually rebuilds those and gets those working correctly again. But it also goes into the liver and cleans out the liver. It has some quite powerful antiviral properties, antibacterial. It's just extremely good for the liver. And apparently we need to do at least 2 full glasses of it. So that's, 500 odd mils, 16 ounces in the US terms.
Yeah.
And that seems to work really well for a lot of cases, and especially that particular case that person's talking about. Was it Jay, was it?
That's it, yep.
Yep.
And I've heard that you do need to have the celery juice on its own. You can't mix it in with other things. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah. Apparently, as soon as you mix it with anything, including water, it loses its effectiveness. And just eating celery on its own doesn't have the same effect either. It has to be celery juice.
So in the instance that where you didn't actually have a juicer, would the neutralizer assist with any of those things as well in terms of restoring gut health? Because I know whenever I have the neutralizer liquid, I have a fair bit, if I've eaten something that's quite acidic or disruptive to my gut, I'll drink a bit and it straight away it relieves the tension and feels like it brings it back to normality.
I have found the neutralizer is excellent for the stomach. As far as rebuilding hydrochloric acid receptors, I have no idea about that. I do know that it cleans it actually cleans the wall of the stomach and the intestines, and gets rid of the residue and build up of it's almost like a syrup that ends up over years and years on our Western diets, of different fillers and dyes and things like that are in foods, and it cakes onto the lining of the stomach and intestines. And so cleaning, using the neutralizer, I found that using the neutralizer cleans it off. And that was one of the first things I noticed back 18 odd years ago when I first started taking neutralizer, was that I didn't need to eat as much. And I realized that the nutrition from the food was actually getting into my body a lot easier and better. So I could literally cut down on my food intake. Just from when I first started using the neutralizer. And that would have been, that was at least 18 years ago. So that was, I started off on 7 drops, as we do, several times a day. And just on that note, I've found, because can be a bit of a pain trying to measure out 7 drops each time you want to have some neutralizer. So I've found quarter of a teaspoon in a 1 litre water bottle, and sipping that throughout the day will give me the equivalent to 7 drops, every hour or so. And then I would slowly build up from there. And Clayton always used to say to keep going until you get the results that you're after. So whether that's from whatever illness you're suffering from, or sickness or debilitation, you just keep going, just keep building up.
It's interesting when you said, just by detoxing, you can aid, your body helps itself to clean itself out, but also with the digestion. It aids with the digestion. You don't have to eat as much, because a lot of people times, and with myself in the past, you don't really think about the detox. You think about, my body's lacking in something, so you have to give it something to help, like a digestive enzyme supplement or something like that. But you never really think about that your body could be overloaded with toxins, and therefore it's not performing to, how it could be, type thing. So it's an interesting point of view.
Yeah, well, I know Clayton used to describe it as it's like a syrup that cakes the inside of the digestive system with all the dyes and fillers and that happens over years and years and years. It's not something that happens straight away. Yeah. But I'll tell you a secret, and not many people realise this, but there's only 2 things you need to do to have, there's not only 2 things in it, but 2 of the most important things to have vibrant health is to detox regularly and reduce your viral load. If you can do those 2 things, you'll have a much better life health-wise.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, Jay said, what dose would you suggest to take internally?
I think I've covered that. I always start off on 7 drops, and I've had people that are so sick that they haven't been able to take that much at all. So I always start off on 7 drops, or like I said, quarter of a teaspoon in a 1 litre bottle. I worked out, seems to be, sipping that throughout the day seems to be about the same equivalent as 7 drops.
Yeah. And I know when I first started taking neutralizer about a year ago, I think I started by just swigging a little bit, having a little mouthful straight out of the bottle. But I'd also been detoxing for a while before that, so You know, I've now been building up to taking a few mouthfuls.
And you're still young, and you know you haven't got a health issue or anything like that. So, that's sort of the thing.
Yeah, groovy. Well, thanks for those questions.
It's a mineral water, unlike any other mineral water out there.
I concur with that. Cool. Well, thanks, Jay, for those questions. So speaking about neutralizer, if we move on to now the neutralizer gel, and a little bit about the breakdown of the different ways in which it can be used throughout the body, because it seems to be quite a few ways it can be used. So how would you use it for burns, Geoffrey?
Burns. Did we not talk about that before? I think we did burns.
We did burns already?
Yeah, we did burns and cuts.
Okay, groovy. All right then. How about things like bruising?
Bruising. We did bruising too, I think. Yep.
Okay. Strains, sprains?
Strains and sprains. I think that's where we got up to. We did touch on that a bit. And I was saying that definitely having a bath, you know, once you have an injury, having a bath in the soap is the first thing I do. If I have any kind of an injury, or you know, or pull a muscle, or I'm tired, or I'm sore, or anything, I always have a bath. It's just so rejuvenating, the bath, and it's literally like being in a toxin magnet. It's pulling toxins. That's what I believe anyway. It's pulling toxins straight out of the skin into the bath water.
Okay.
I have great results having a bath.
And how much would you recommend putting into the bath? Because I always put a fair bit in. I always think more better, but I'm sure, you know.
Yeah, you don't need a lot. You know, 20 to 40 mils of straight soap is more than enough, I think.
Okay, well,
you know,
then I'm well overdoing it then.
Oh, look, I put up to 100 mils in, but you know, I can. So, and you know, and I like having lots of soap in there.
Yeah.
It's not something we, you know, definitely when you start off, I'd be having less.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's going to find their level, what they need.
Yeah.
And then as far as those sprains and strains and injuries go, once I've got out of the bath, and then I'd keep applying the gel as often as I can.
Okay. Actually, I thought of a question. I know a lot of people like to get their bath water and put it on their plants, for instance. Would that sort of soap be okay for the plants once it's sort of detoxified, once it got the toxins out of your body?
Most definitely, yeah. It's neutralised all the toxins that are in there. So,
okay.
So yeah, I do that all the time. I run all my bath water out onto the plants or the garden, or especially any trees that are ailing. You know, they always thrive and come back when I put the soapy water on them. People have put it into anthills, and you know, if they want to get rid of ants, they've run their bath water into the ants. We had some kind of bug in our grass here for a while. I can't remember exactly what it was. I just run the bath water out, put it through a sprinkler, and just sprinkle it over that area, and it went.
Interesting. I guess those bugs would be classed as parasites, wouldn't they?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
You know, they were just eating the grass. It's just like an infestation. So
yeah, right. Yeah, interesting.
I think they actually ate the roots or the base of the grass or something. So made the grass die off.
It's interesting. I actually haven't thought about using it in that way before, but definitely have to give that a go.
Yeah, anything when it comes to agriculture, you may see it in the notes or in the mixing directions. There's directions there for using it with agriculture, for using that to get better. Farmers have used it or cow farmers have used that to get better grass growth. And they also said the cows are healthier and seem to be better as well.
Yeah, right.
All sorts of farming techniques like that.
So what about things like, because I often get caterpillars and grasshoppers eating my sweet potatoes, and I find it quite infuriating.
They're only eating the leaves, though, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, but then they might as well be eating the sweet potato, because if there's no leaves, then the potato doesn't grow as well.
Yep. Yeah, so just spraying, you know, you can either run the bath water out and put it through a sprinkler and sprinkle over that area, or get a spray bottle, you know, or mix up some soap into a you know, they're more industrial type sprayers that we use on plants and that.
Okay.
And just spray the whole plant. You might have to do it quite often because you know, it's not going to stay on there. You get one rain, it's going to wash a lot of it off, but over time they'll get the message.
Yeah, and I suppose it also rejuvenate the soil as well.
Yeah, you know, you've got minerals, you've got oxygen, you've got hydrogen. It's essential for the growth of any living thing.
Interesting. Alrighty, well, coming back to the body, what about things like brushing teeth, you know, your gums, bad breath, sort of the mouth region? How would you recommend?
Just got a little bit confused here, Elijah, because we were talking a lot about these earlier on. So I'm not sure if I was talking about these earlier on or was actually on the live.
It would have been earlier on.
It was earlier on?
Yeah.
Well, my bad. We better go back a few steps then and talk about some of those.
Oh, good. I thought I was going crazy.
Sorry to mess you up there.
Oh, it's quite all right.
All right, let's go back a couple of steps.
Just say you're testing me.
Yeah.
That you're meant to do it.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, shall we go back to the burns, cuts, and wounds?
Yep.
Alrighty. So how would you use the neutralizer gel for the burns, cuts, and wounds?
The burns, yes. Definitely the neutralizer gel and the soap. I know it's pretty funny. I'm getting old. That's my excuse. The neutralizer gel, the and even the soap straight out of the foaming bottle is excellent for burns. And the same again. You apply them as often as possible. It's because you've got that oxygen content in the gel. You know, the highly the mineral clusters in the gel and the neutralizers are highly charged with oxygen and hydrogen. So they're very effective on germs. It's also high pH, so that it's been shown that germs and that just can't thrive in a high pH environment on a living organism. You know, if we're acidic, the germs will thrive, and that's what happens when we get a burn. They tend to be very acidic. So you're raising that pH as well.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. And I know I've had burns in the past, and I know they can be quite painful even days after, you know, and I know I haven't had the neutralizer gel handy in those times, but I did have a burn the other day when I did have the neutralizer gel, and it was interesting because the pain went away quite quickly and stayed away as well. There was none of that lingering pain that you get with you know, pretty bad burns, things like that. So that was definitely interesting for me. Yep.
I've had many reports from customers that have said that the Miracle 2 products are extremely effective on burns. And myself, you know, I've used them on burns, and I think I mentioned in a previous video where I had my grandkids out for the day and who have got very fair skin, and hopefully my daughter's not listening to this. And the smallest one got, being in the pram all day, got quite burnt on her legs, and so I just kept putting the gel on afterwards, and the next day she just had nice brown legs. There was no burn, nothing.
Oh, it's definitely
I was quite relieved at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The last thing I want to do is get scolded by my daughter.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's good to know that it's safe for kids as well.
Yeah. Yep. That's for
like
sure.
that, yeah.
That's for sure. I know my grandkids have been using these products since I think they started bathing in it when they were just a few months old.
Okay.
From memory.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. So that's sort of covered burns, sort of cuts and wounds.
Cuts and wounds, yeah, the same sort of thing. And I'd probably even be washing the cuts or wounds as soon as possible, using the Miracle 2 soap first off, and then applying the gel or the neutralizer liquid. And if you haven't got either of those, then just keep applying the soap from the foaming bottle. Just the diluted soap.
Yeah.
So, they're all pretty much the same ingredients. Basically, they had the soap, and then the soap was they were directed to separate some of the products, and that's how they came up with the neutralizer. So everything that's in the neutralizer is also in the soap.
Okay. Yeah.
And the gel, apart from the gelling agents, the only difference there.
Yeah.
And they made the gel just so that it was easier for topical application.
Okay. Did you say the gel was also more concentrated too, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. The gel's about 3.5 to 4 times stronger than the neutralizer liquid.
Okay. Yeah. And then the 7 times gel is 4 times stronger than the
7 times stronger than than the normal gel. So it's roughly 28 times stronger than the neutralizer liquid.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really strong. So that's why it works so good on pain, arthritis, and anything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it is much more effective on pain, the 7 times gel, than the normal gel.
Well, I know, especially when I was younger and I'd be going through the bush and exploring around the garden and things like that, I'd get a lot of cuts and wounds and things like that. And I'd never want to put anything on them, because anything you'd put on them, for me, it was, they always stung and they burnt and they hurt and it just felt horrible.
Yep.
And I was like, no, just get it away. I'd rather have an open cut, and now, I still pretty much do that. But since discovering the neutralizer gel, I put that onto all my open cuts and wounds and things like that, because I feel safe using the product, and it doesn't sting and burn and feel all funny when you're putting it onto a raw spot. So, yeah, just an interesting observation from my point of view. But
yeah, look, I always carry a bottle of neutralizer gel with me everywhere I go in the bush, and it's more safe for, spider bites, snake bites, ticks, anything like that. More for serious things rather than normal scratches and things. But yeah, I keep a bottle in all my vehicles. Anywhere I go, backpack if I'm walking. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I know its effectiveness, so that's why I do it. And often I find people that have injured themselves, or they've got some kind of bite, or et cetera, and who need assistance. So.
Yeah. What did you say the old slogan was for the?
The neutralizer gels and neutralizer liquid used to have a slogan on the bottle and used to say emergency room in a bottle, but due to regulations they were forced to take that off, and I do believe it is an emergency room in a bottle. When you have a product that can neutralize toxins and all, I believe all injuries and illnesses are either created from toxins or create toxins just by the fact of them. You have an injury, you're getting toxins underneath the skin just from the pain, just the swelling, etc. So when you've got a product that neutralizes toxins, you can be very effective on any situation.
Yeah, and it's just amazing how many uses it actually has. I'm always discovering new uses for these products all the time, and it's
for sure.
I'm sure I still haven't figured out, everything that they can actually do. So
Yep. And in 18 years, I've heard all sorts. So and some of them really surprise me. Even when they've just used very small amounts.
Yeah.
So,
any of those you can share with us, or?
Yes, quite a few. I think I shared a lot of them on the other videos. That redback spider bite is just amazing. The little 2-year-old that had came running into a mum with a redback still attached to his finger, and they got the redback off and put it into a container, rang the hospital, told them they were coming, put the gel on straight away, I believe, and then kept applying the gel every 2 minutes on the way to the hospital, and they were 35 minutes from the hospital. So, they were applying it every 2 minutes, and they got to the hospital, and they didn't actually believe them that they'd had a spider bite, but they had it with them to prove it. So they were left sitting in the waiting room for the next 2 hours to see what would happen with them, and they ended up just getting up and going home.
Wow.
The doctors couldn't believe, the state of the child when he got there.
It's amazing that it's that effective just by rubbing it on the outside of the skin, not even having to ingest it, but just by putting it on the spot. Right?
Yep. The skin's, it absorbs very well into the skin, and I believe it absorbs right into the cell, and gets right into the cell and cleans out the cell. And I know they did test, there's a university in America that did a lot of tests, and they said it neutralised cobra venom in 3 seconds in a test tube. So
wow.
I know Clayton said, well, that's great, but we don't have any cobras around here. So
I'm sure they could find other things. Though.
But for sure, that's just the kind of effectiveness of this.
Wow, that's amazing. Interesting. Well, so how about things like, let's have a look here. So onto brushing teeth and gums. Think about things like bad breath or things like that.
Bad breath, yes. Well, something that I've really been doing lately is holding the neutralizer, drinking the neutralizer and holding it in my mouth for 20, 30 odd seconds, 40 seconds, and just swishing that around. So what I believe is that the neutralizer is the oxygen, these mineral clusters that are highly charged with oxygen or hydrogen are very effective on the bad bacteria in your mouth, while not touching the good bacteria. Bad bacteria are easily oxidized, whereas good bacteria have a harder outer shell, so they don't get oxidized nearly as easy, or at all. But so that should really deal with any bad breath that I do have. What I've noticed over the years is most bad breath seems to come from food that's stuck in between my teeth. So flossing's going to be a wonderful help there.
Oh, I don't like flossing.
A lot of people don't. I mean, it's not my favourite thing, but it seems to be very effective. But I brush my teeth with the gel. I haven't got a toothbrush handy, but I do have the gel with me. And so I like to use the little pump that screws onto the bottle and just put that straight onto there's so many wires hanging around there, so just straight onto the toothbrush like that, brushing my teeth. Putting a little bit of soap on there as well. Oh, look, here's a toothbrush. Here we go.
It's a miracle.
I don't know. Can we see this okay?
Yeah, it shows up. Yeah.
So just put in gel on like that. Even have some soap handy. This is what I do. That's probably even too much for my liking. And just putting that on, brushing my teeth with that. And then, you may even want to redo that halfway through, depending how well you brush and what you like. But I find that quite effective for me. My teeth feel very clean and great after that.
Interesting. I haven't really brushed my teeth with the soap before, even though I did once accidentally squirt a whole bottle of it into my mouth.
That's
Thinking it was a neutralizer. But yeah, I do like brushing with the neutralizer. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we came on air, I went to brush my teeth and realised that the neutralizer gel was out here, so I just used a little bit of the soap from the foaming bottle, and just brushed my teeth like that, which was quite all right. As long as you don't use too much, you don't want to have bubbles coming out your nose or anything.
Yeah. Well, we don't want that, that's for sure. But I remember on that note, when you're talking about good bacteria and bad bacteria, I know a lot of people these days are quite obsessed with washing their hands and things like that. How would the neutralizer help with sort of washing your hands?
Yeah, well, obviously the soap's going to work better because it's a soap, but because it's got the same ingredients that are in the neutralizer in the soap, so you've still got those highly charged oxygen and hydrogen molecules, molecules with highly charged with oxygen and hydrogen. You've got the high pH. It's just very effective. And if you don't have I know I've used it in the past. If I haven't got the soap handy, I'll just use the gel, or even the neutralizer liquid to wash my hands with.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not going to soap up and be quite as effective as the soap, but it's still doing the job as far as cleansing and bacterial wise.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just glad to know that these products are here and they're as effective as they are, because personally I don't like using alcohol based hand sanitizers, because it kills a lot of the bacteria. And
yeah, well, like I said, it's the same for mouthwashes. The alcohol kills all the bacteria, whether it's good or bad. And I want to keep those good bacteria and get rid of the bad bacteria. Let those good bacteria thrive. Because that's health giving. Rather than health destroying.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay says, I was listening to an interview with Clayton. He mentioned the Amazing Grace scientific report for Miracle 2. I can't find it online. Do you have a copy?
Yes, I would love to have a copy. I've been trying to find the full report for quite some time. It seems to have gone mysteriously missing from everywhere. I do have parts of it, where they talk about the scientific side of it. I'd love to have the full report, and I did have a customer tell me she had a book about Miracle 2, which she got probably 15, 20 years ago. And I don't know who actually wrote the book or what it was about, and I've tried to find that online and I couldn't find that anywhere. But if anybody's ever ordered products from us, you'll get a lot of the scientific report, also a lot of the Amazing Grace literature in there. Well, the bits that I managed to acquire along the way over the years. And that's mainly talking about how it's made, the effectiveness of it. It talks about scientifically how it works, about the energetic side, how that works, and there's quite a bit of information there. But I believe in that same the Amazing Grace report. There was also stuff about the snake venom, how it neutralised the snake venom, and I believe it was actually the university that did a lot of testing that did that Amazing Grace report. But I'm not 100% sure of that. I haven't seen the full document. I don't think I've ever seen the full document, but I've heard lots about it. And like I said, I've got some of it there. So if anybody would like that, if they email that to me with Amazing Grace in the in the what's the word?
Thing.
Yeah, just email me about the Amazing Grace document. I can email that to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Jay was saying, how can you access the members area? Is it a forum on the website?
No, there's not. Basically, once you've ordered on the website, you'll have to register on the website. So then that makes you a member. Simple as that.
Yeah. Okay.
So we run as a private members association now. So even anybody watching this video, we assume you are a private member, or have ordered from us. If you've ordered from us and registered on the website, then you're automatically a private member. If you haven't ordered from us and you'd still like to be a private member, just email me and we can sort that out for you.
I know someone mentioned, I think a couple of weeks ago, it'd be interesting to have a Facebook chat group or a forum group about Miracle 2 and how people can come in and sort of exchange stories or how they use it or things like that.
And we do actually have a Facebook. Sorry, Elijah. We do actually have a Facebook group there. And it's mainly where I just put up posts and stories that have come in from different people. I can't say I'm very active in it. I'm not a big Facebooker. Actually, I'm not a Facebooker at all.
I am.
So that might be a job for you, Elijah.
Yeah, can do. We could also add the Facebook link to the bottom of the video as well, so people can find it easily and join if they want to.
Yep. And I believe I'm not sure if it's on the website or not.
I haven't checked.
It's definitely on the emails, and it's also on when you order. It's also on the literature when you order.
Okay, we'll make sure to put that in then.
Yep. I might actually put that on the price list. I'm pretty sure it is on the price list, but I'll double check.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good for people to chat with each other about it, or maybe even like a Telegram group or something like that people can tune into. Or it could be interesting. Yeah,
if people want to chat amongst themselves and discuss amongst themselves, they're happy to. It's not something I'm big at.
Yeah. No worries. Well, back to the neutralizer gel topics. Maybe moving down onto allergic reactions. Hairy caterpillars, grass, dogs, and cats, and things like that. I know I've used a neutralizer gel for hairy caterpillars, especially, and it's quite effective. I'm always out in the bush and walking barefoot, as I do, and especially when it's hairy caterpillar season, I probably step on at least 3 a day. And
wow.
It's pretty bad out there. But the neutralizer definitely helps with that. So allergic reactions, I can speak for that. But
yeah, as far as, and I wouldn't call it an allergic reaction. It's more of a toxic reaction from the toxic toxins that they're giving off, or the poisons that they're giving off to you.
Okay. Yep.
Because I don't think there'd be anybody that wouldn't be have a reaction to it. I can't say I've had a hairy caterpillar itch.
Oh, you don't want them. They're bad.
Yeah, I know. I've had people come and get the gel that have never used the product, and have been sent to me to get the gel just specifically for that. But I learned a long time ago not to touch them. And that's the same with all insect bites, and basically the more venomous the bite is, or the more dangerous it is, the more often I'd be applying the gel. Like I said, with that spider bite, that redback spider bite, they applied it every 2 minutes.
Would you just wipe off the gel that's already on there?
No. Well, once it's dry, just if it dries up, put more on.
So I know that at one point you said that neutralizer will use its energy up. So if you already put some on, would it use its energy up? And then
well, it's basically you can't overuse it. And if it's a serious injury or bite or sting or whatever, the more often you're using it, the better. It's the same with all these products. The more you're using them, the more you apply the gel, the better it's going to work. The more effective you're going to have. If you put on something once a day and expect miracles, you might get them, you might not. But if you're putting it on every couple of minutes, for a serious thing, while you're traveling to the hospital, it's going to be way more effective than just putting it on once and expecting that to keep going for the rest of your life.
That makes
a little
sense.
bit exaggerated, but that's the sort of thing. The more often, I just can't stress that enough. The more you apply, the more often you use, the better these products are going to work.
Makes sense, yeah.
And I find that with all natural products, supplements, everything, small doses often always works better than one large dose.
I guess that's sort of the way the body's more designed, is through progress rather than
Yep. Yeah, the body can only deal with stuff at a particular rate. If you could get rid of all your toxins in your body in one go, that would be fantastic. But it doesn't work like that. You're going to go into a major reaction.
Yeah, that would make sense as well. What about things like, allergic reactions to dogs and cats? Because I'm quite allergic to my dog, and I can't touch him. And if he jumps on my bed once and jumps off, I've got to change the sheets because
my
whole face will start swelling up. But so what about things like, I get a lot of congestion, in the sinuses. How would the neutralizer help with that?
Yeah, well, my wife was the same with dogs and cats too. She would get allergic, and she would always go and wash her hands after she'd touch them straight away. If she'd rubbed her eye, she'd get it in her eye, and then she'd go and wash her face and hands. But yeah, and even having a shower or bath, or just washing your hands or whatever the affected area with the soap works very well, and then you can apply the gel afterwards. But washing the area or even your whole body first, and then just applying the gel, it always seems to work better. As far as up the sinuses, where is it? Just excuse me one sec. I actually use, there's a couple of things you can do. I had a customer tell me once that they would, when they're in the shower, they would get a little bit of the soap, put on their cupped hands, and water that down quite a bit, really weak. And then they would snort that up their nose into their sinuses and clean out their sinuses literally with a very, very weak solution of soap.
Like a neti pot type of thing?
Yeah, yep. And I've tried it, and it does sting a bit, as anytime you squirt or sniff stuff up into your sinuses. But it really works well. And they said they did it every day, and they said they never got a cold, they never got the flu, and that sort of thing. And I find that it also works really well with things like hay fever and things like that. And if I go out and mow the lawns, I'll get hay fever. It'll get up my nose, and I'll just do that. Or I will use, can we see that? I'll use a little 50 ml spray bottle with neutralizer, and I'll just spray that straight up my nose.
Okay, awesome.
Not quite as effective as the soap right up into the sinuses, but and I'm sure you could probably do a weak solution of neutralizer and water in the same way as using the soap.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because I'm quite allergic to most animals actually. So yes. Okay.
Thanks for that question, Elijah.
Oh, it's quite all right. So I've got a couple more of the general questions here. So if I soak my veggies and fruit in the Miracle 2 soap in the sink, do I need to sort of empty the sink water before I put more veggies and fruit in there, or can I use the same water?
Good question.
keep
Good
going.
question. Depending, I would probably. It should probably be fine for the next batch, but you might just want to top that up a bit.
Okay.
I mean, I normally fill up the sink and put a fair bit of soap in and soak all the fruit and vegetables at once. And that works fine, and I'll leave that in for at least 20 minutes, sometimes for hours, before I eventually get them out.
Yeah. Because it detoxes the food, but it also charges it with energy, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. The highly charged negative energy field that it's producing goes right into that fruit and vegetables, and I believe it actually neutralizes the toxins that are in there as well. That's my understanding of that.
So I was recently doing a fruit juice cleanse, and I figured, if I'm trying to cleanse my body, I don't want to be putting anything that's toxic from whatever's on the vegetables and the fruit in my body while I'm trying to do it.
There. Yep.
Yeah, while I'm trying to do a detox. So I was soaking all my vegetables and fruits before juicing them in the Miracle 2, and I definitely noticed a difference between ones that were soaked in the soap and ones that weren't.
Yep, and I find they last longer too. They seem to last longer in the fridge. And
Interesting.
so yeah, I'd probably just definitely top the water up with a bit of extra soap.
Okay, all right, sounds
and
good.
I prefer to use the soap rather than the neutralizer.
Okay, I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Well, the soap's more of a drawing agent, whereas the neutralizer's more of a neutralizer.
Okay. And you did say it was in the soap anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. It draws it out and neutralizes it in the water.
Which then makes it safe to go down into the earth afterwards. And
exactly. Yep. And then
keep
there's
doing
always
its
going to be some left there that's going to keep working as it goes down the drain. If we could get this into one house in every street around the world, imagine the cleanup that would happen on Earth. That would be amazing.
It is nice to know that it's good for the environment as well. Because
Yep. For sure, I know I see a lot of communities and MOs and nature communities and these groups on the land, and I'd love to see all of them using Miracle 2 products, and not only that way they're not putting more chemicals and toxins into the earth, and they're also cleaning up the land that they're on as well. That's if you're in that kind of community where you're loving nature, then this is a must, I believe.
Sounds like it sort of gives back to nature as well, which is nice.
Yep. For sure. You're not only helping yourselves, you're helping the land that you're living on as well.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
And most rural properties like that, they're all septic systems. So this is extremely good for septic systems. I've been in septic systems for the last 12, 13 years or so. And it's always been really good. We've never had any problem. And we've had it tested and the test guys saying, it's still really good for another 5 years. Often you've got to pump them out and redo them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, you said our septic was always in really good condition, even after years and years and years.
Wow.
So, and the overflow of those septics flows out onto the land as well. So, through the drainage pits and that. So, the Miracle 2's, it's getting back into the land one way or the other.
Awesome. Well, we're coming up to the hour. Might move through some of the news and the happenings.
Awesome. Thanks, Elijah.
No worries. Would you like to sort of do a quick overview on the minerals that you have?
The minerals, yes. Well, we've touched on the detoxified iodine. We also have the CP ionic minerals, which, in a nutshell, they're in ionic form. So they're small enough that they can go into the cell easily. They don't need to be digested by the stomach. So you can literally put them under your tongue and they'll absorb straight into the system. So the for want of a better word, they're pre-digested. They use the same system that plants do to break down the minerals in the ground. And when they make these, it's a very similar type of system. So they're extremely effective because they get into the body and work straight away. They don't need to be digested by the gut or the digestive system, which makes them far more effective. A lot of minerals need to be processed. That's why the best way to get minerals is through plants. Eating plant. But, we can't always do that. We can't always get enough. In this day and age, there's a lot less minerals in the foods, and there's a lot more toxic environment, and minerals actually chelate toxins out of the body.
I suppose that they wouldn't lose any of their integrity if they're not being digested through the stomach acids as well.
Exactly.
Yep. Can lose a fair bit that way, but
I hope to do an interview with the maker of those one day too. I've been actually using them for. I actually first used them back in the 90s, and had remarkable results.
I've certainly enjoyed using the magnesium. The ionic magnesium.
Yep.
I can feel it working quite quickly as well.
Yep, that's good. Yep. Yeah, I had an amazing story. One lady, she was actually one of the distributors. She said whenever she got into a car, she would fall asleep, and it would happen all of her life. So obviously she couldn't drive, and once she started taking the nano magnesium, she said that stopped, which is quite interesting because normally
magnesium would be the opposite.
Yeah, normally magnesium relaxes the body that way. When it relaxes the nervous system, but she was there was something going on for her, and it worked really well for her. So
awesome. Okay, well, it's good to know. They're definitely great products and definitely worth checking out. So
for sure,
groovy. Maybe just brush on that. This is the last scheduled video for the Q&As.
So this is going to be the last scheduled one. We will still have them from time to time, but as we get, we're kind of running out of questions that people have emailed in and sent in. But if we get more requests, we will do some more. We are going to also do some videos, some recorded videos on how I use Miracle 2. And literally more demonstration type purposes. So we'll actually demonstrate how I use it for how I use Miracle 2 products for different things, all around the house, on the land, vehicles, on my body. I won't be videoing me having a shower or anything, but brushing my teeth, washing hands, all of those obvious things. How to mix the different strengths, those sorts of things.
Sounds like it'll be a real breakdown, step-by-step type of thing to...
Yeah, we'll probably, break it down for different parts of the, how we use it, the bathroom, the kitchen, the laundry, etc., etc. Out in the garden, personal use, skincare, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, sounds good, and all those things are coming onto the channel, so feel free to subscribe, and you guys will catch that as soon as they're up and ready for viewing.
I'm also thinking about having, once we get through this next bit we're sorting out with the affiliate program, having putting out a newsletter and getting some video testimonies or video stories from people on how they use the products. So get you, the customers, showing us how you use the products and different things that you use the products for, different ways you use them. And so we'll probably provide a discount or a discount voucher for every one of those videos that we use use and we'll compile them all together and put them on one video. Try and get everybody's stories there on how they use it. Because I've been using it for a long time, and so but I'm only one person, so people are using it for all sorts of ways that I didn't even think of. So
yeah, it'd be nice to hear other people's stories as well, and
exactly, yep.
Yeah, as you said,
Yep.
see what they're used for in a
Yep.
variety of different ways. So
Yep, and that brings us on to the next thing will be the affiliate program, which we are currently building at the moment. So hopefully that should be up and running in the next 2 or so weeks. So you'll be able to once it's up and running, you'll be able to you'll get a token or a key, and you'll be able to supply that to your friends, family, or put it on your website. And for every person that orders through your affiliate key, you'll get paid probably 10% of their purchase order. So for every $100, that's $10 you'll get paid straight into your account, into your bank account. So it's a cash incentive to get more people using these products.
awesome. Sounds like there's some good things coming up. So
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yep.
sounds good.
So yeah, that hopefully will be up and running in the next few weeks. We've just started building that as of yesterday.
Awesome. Looking forward to seeing how it comes along.
Yep. We've got a bit of testing and a few landing pages and things to write and et cetera. But that should be up and running soon.
Sounds good.
And hopefully that'll be all kind of automated, so you'll be able to jump on, use the same membership platform on the website.
Yeah.
So you go into your members area once you've logged on. You'll be able to sign up for the affiliate program, get your key. You'll be able to customize your key, so it'll say your name or your business name or whatever you want. Put in your bank details and you'll probably get paid. I would probably pay once a month sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll give you all the finer details once we've sorted all of that out.
Sounds good. And did you say that you'll be doing a market stall somewhere soon as well?
There's an event called Picnic in Nature, I think it's called. And that's a New South Wales, I think it's a government-run thing where they're providing, they're wanting people to host picnics in nature and just present their natural products or their natural ways, or just getting people into nature to teach them more about nature, all sorts of things like that. So there's at least 3 of us that will be hosting one of these down here in northern New South Wales.
Cool.
So we'll have the Miracle 2 products there, and there'll be quite a few other stalls there as well, I presume.
Yeah. Maybe a good time to do a few demonstrations too, out in nature
sure.
and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Sounds good. Was there anything else you'd like to
I'm just
talk
having a
about?
quick look at my notes. That's pretty much it, I think. I don't know if you've got any more things that you can remember we were talking about.
I don't think so. I think we covered most of them.
Yep.
Most of things. So
Awesome.
that was pretty good.
Awesome.
Well, hope everybody enjoyed, and thank you very much for the questions, and thank you everyone who's viewing and will be viewing the video.
Yep. Yeah, thank you everybody. It's been a pleasure doing these, and hopefully it helps a lot of people. I've been getting a lot of feedback from different people saying they've been watching it and they didn't realise you could do that, and they couldn't do that, or this is how you use it for that. And I'm getting a lot of feedback from people saying it's been very helpful. So that's great.
Yeah.
Great to hear.
Yeah, it's definitely keeps you in a good mood too, and
Yep.
you get good feedback like that.
And it's been a great challenge for me too, because coming on live was probably one of the scariest things I've ever had to do.
Oh, I'm still scared.
It's been a great challenge for me as well, and it was good.
Oh, I'm very proud of you, Geoffrey.
And thanks, Elijah. I'm proud of you too.
Oh, thank you.
You did really well. It's Elijah's basically the man behind the scenes here, and he's put all this together. So he's done a great job. He's got the Roadcaster board here that runs all the mics and videos and everything through. And
Yeah, we're basically swimming in cables back here.
yeah, we've got cables. I try and move. I'm knocking everything.
Oh, yeah.
Got cables here and microphones in my face, and
We love it.
so anyway, it's been great to do these, and I hope people get a lot of benefit out of these.
Oh, I think they certainly have, and I certainly have, and I'm very grateful for that. So thank you for that, Geoffrey.
Oh, you're very welcome, and thank you to everybody for tuning in and listening. And I believe it was 7 a.m. in England. I know I had an English customer over there who was tuning in, hoping to be tune in.
Yeah.
So it would have been 7 a.m. when we started here yesterday. That is.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
How that works.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
groovy. Yeah. Well, I'll be sure to put the Facebook link in the description as well as the website if anyone wants to check out the website for any other interesting things on
that's
there.
a great idea. Thank you for that, Elijah.
Not a worry.
Okay, let's wrap this up.
Groovy. Lots of love to everyone out there, and thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Lots of love, and go well, be well.